In today's video, we're going to talk about a shuffle gait. So if you notice that you have a tendency to just kind of keep your feet really close to the ground, or that you started to take really small steps, in this video, we're going to go over some reasons why this might be happening. And of course, exercises to help you relearn how to take bigger steps, walk more efficiently, and hopefully improve your overall quality of life. If you're new to this channel, I'm Tara, I'm a neurologic physical therapist, and on this channel we talk about anything and everything related to mobility, health, fitness, and mindset, with the end goal of empowering you with as many tools as possible to take ownership of your health, your fitness, and your overall mobility. And today we're going to talk about everything that has to do with a shuffle gait pattern. So if you notice you're just starting to take really small steps, sometimes that's due to a neurologic condition. Sometimes people associate that type of a gait pattern with Parkinson's disease, but I have noticed that people, just as they age, sometimes have a tendency to take on this walking pattern. And that's what we're going to address today, or what are some other reasons why you might start walking this way, not related to a neurologic condition. And one is that you just have a fear of falling. So if someone's afraid of falling, or they feel like they can't stand on one leg, then you might just take smaller steps because you don't want to pick your feet up off the ground. Sometimes someone might start to kind of bend their knees a little bit because they are afraid of falling, and so it kind of gets you a little bit closer to the ground. It's just kind of like a compensatory strategy if you're starting to feel a little bit more off balance. So when you're crouched down like that, it just makes it a little bit harder to pick your legs up. And then the other reason why I've seen people do this that have come to see me for other balance related issues that kind of have this walking problem is that they've lost the ability to push off. So sometimes what happens is the muscles on the back of your leg, the ones that point your toes, they become weak, and that can also cause you to kind of sometimes bend your knees, because you can see if the muscles that point our ankles are weak, our knees are going to kind of bend forward a little bit. And when we don't push off, it just makes those steps look a little bit smaller. So the reason I think all of that's important is it really is important for you to work with a physical therapist in person to identify maybe what's contributing to your gait pattern so that you can get the right exercises for you. But if you can kind of identify with one of those root causes that we just talked about, then it might help you as we go into the exercises that I'm about to show you. Pick the ones that might seem like they fit you the best. But enough about all that. Let's go ahead and dive into the exercises. Okay, so first let's talk about those of you that might shuffle because you are afraid of falling. The best exercise for you is just to kind of work on picking those legs up in a safe environment. I love, love, love a corner. Gives you some boundaries, gives you some kind of safety nets around you. And then you're just going to alternate tapping. Okay? Sometimes people think they can't pick their legs up because the muscles that lift the legs are weak. But when I've worked with someone like that and we've tested their strength, they actually do have adequate strength in the muscles that lift the legs. And then we'll kind of maybe deduce that it's more related to the fact that you just don't feel comfortable picking your legs up. That's why getting in a corner can make that feel a little bit safer. And you just want to get used to standing on one leg and alternate lifting that other leg up onto a higher surface. I always like kind of working on things that'll challenge you just a little bit beyond what's necessary, so that when you actually get into the community and you're doing these activities functionally, they'll seem a little bit easier. So in a corner, lifting those legs just a little bit higher, alternating toe taps. Okay, so those are for those of you that are shuffling, maybe because you feel like you don't have good balance when you're just standing on one leg. And then you can progress that by bringing your arms off of the wall. Okay, now let's talk about those of you that have that weakness on the back of your legs. This is actually pretty common, something I'm seeing a lot more. So what I want you to work on is heel raises. Now, if you lean against a wall, it makes it a little bit easier. The more vertical you are, the harder it's going to be. But the more you can tip forward and just kind of rise up on those toes. Really strengthening those pointer muscles. And then once you get good at that, you're going to toe walk. Okay. So again, we're working on that push off. So sometimes people do this because they lost that ability to push off, right? So push off. You'll know this is you if you can't walk on your toes. And then you know that those would be the muscles that you would want to strengthen. Push off, right? Push off. If you miss that push off, might result in that, okay? So you're going to do the against the wall, heel raises, and then the toe walking. High, high, high up on your toes, forwards and backwards, high, high, high on the toes. Okay? And then that last one I mentioned was just kind of like some people just crouch down because they're just really afraid of falling. So you just want to work on standing in a corner and just standing up tall and try not to bounce off the walls. Okay? So the goal is to push up, get as tall as you can, and get comfortable there in a safe in a safe area with safety nets around you, and just stand as tall as you can. And that's the whole activity. Just work on standing with a more upright posture to see if you can get more comfortable with that. And then if you can, what I want you to do is I want you to stand with your feet in a straight line as tall as you can. Try to fight the urge of trying to like squat down and get closer to the ground, and just extend those legs, chest up, and just hold that position. If you can't do it with your feet in a straight line, or you feel like you're bouncing off the walls, then go back to just side by side feet touching. Okay, again, don't let yourself sink down, but just work on standing. And your job or your goal is not to bounce off those walls. Okay, then once you can get good at that, you can add a little. Okay, so you're going to tap your hands again. You want to try not to be bouncing off the walls, okay, which is pretty common for some of you where you're having some balance problems, okay? So you're rotating, moving those hands kind of outside your base of support, but you don't want your body to be bouncing off the wall, okay? And just tap, 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 trying not to sink down as you do that, okay? Up tall, tap, tap, tap. All right, so those are just a few exercises that I've been working on with a couple of patients recently to work on standing up taller, which is really, really helping them to take bigger steps. And then one final thing I wanted to mention that one of my patients told me recently that they were instructed a long time ago was they were told not to look at the floor because that's what was making them bend over and walk hunched over. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, we all kind of look down a little bit at the floor, especially if you're afraid of falling. I think it's okay to look at the floor. Just know that you will need to work a little bit harder to kind of keep that chest up. So anyway, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so that you'll get notified every time I upload new videos. I enjoyed spending time with y'all today, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.